Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome in to the FC Podcast, the 11th edition of the FC Podcast.
The only FC Podcast where you get to hear yours truly.
The only FC Podcast, yes. We own copyright on this, so if anyone else makes another one, yeah, that's not the official FC Podcast.
When did we apply for copyright? I mean, I know we have artistic right, but I didn't know that we applied for a legit copyright.
In my mind we did. In my heart we did.
That's good enough for me, bro. That's good enough for me.
As always, it's Killer Gunny 132 along with my co-host, Toast 78901.
The better co-host.
The better co-host, okay.
Hey,
well,
I've got a whole fucking cult following, okay? I don't see you with a cult
That's
following.
because you have your own religion.
Even then, they're devoted to me, not the religion, bro. Trust me. I know this.
Anyway, let's jump right into our first segment, which is covering the Battle Night for June 2nd.
In case you guys were curious, we had said last time that we might do a separate newscast. We decided not to because we didn't think anyone was going to listen to it.
Yeah.
Because it would be short, it wouldn't be any kind of consequence or anything like that. So instead we decided we're going to cover FC news, but we're going to do it a lot quicker. And so let's just begin by saying Red won both Longbow and Sanctuary tonight, an 8v8 and a 4v4.
Yeah, Sanctuary wasn't very close, but Longbow was. It actually came down to a Red versus Blue High Command game, which Red won. But that it's Red winning 2 maps again, sweeping.
Yep, the rape train has once again removed its brakes.
Okay. Also, on the FC news side of things, there isn't much news to cover this week, but what we did want to cover and talk about is the FC Salvation Army, which, me and Toast run. Once again, we'd like to say we have codes, so if you need codes, apply for them.
If you know people who need codes, have them apply for them.
Yes, also.
Apply for them. I actually had Anarchy apply for Keiichi once.
Yeah. So, also, we're not going to say no to codes either, so keep donating them. Believe me, we have a whole batch of codes now, because we got some from the Unity money that we got, and we also had a tons donated through listener mail. So,
thank
believe
you to
me.
all of you guys out there.
Yeah.
Also, I think the only other 2 pieces of news that I'd like to address real quick is one, we are doing the listener mail contest, as you guys know.
Yes.
So continue sending those in if you guys are listening to, get in on a chance to win some Microsoft points. If you don't enter, you can't win it, and I don't feel bad for you.
Yes, also, stay tuned for a very special announcement from the FC podcast team this week.
Yep.
We
have something in the works that is going to be amazing next week. I'll put it this way, it's been much anticipated. It's going to be very community heavy. Everyone's going to be able to get involved most likely, and it's going to be something that we all care about being here in FC. So stay tuned.
So stay tuned for the announcement this week. But yeah, I think that covers the FC news, or anything FC related right now, right?
I think it does. And so with that, guys, what we're going to do is shoot you over to a quick break. We'll come back in a second. This is probably going to be a very, very short one, with our discussion for the night, where we actually had a great guy joining us, not only for a short interview, but also for a full-on discussion that I think affects every single one of us in this community.
Yeah, so enjoy that, and we'll be right back here at the FC Podcast.
Stay classy, motherfuckers!
And welcome back in to the FC Podcast. Toast, we're going to have a very good discussion, and we have someone here who's going to help us. Who is it?
Yes, we are. We actually have the great Kazor with us today. Kaz is a member of Blue Army, for those of you who don't know. I'll let him introduce himself in a second. But by the way, guys, just a little heads up. If you hear anything weird in the background that sounds like a cat or a female, I'm at my girlfriend's in her bed, and there are people here. My mic picks everything up. Don't be alarmed. Don't be disturbed. It's just me, I guess, I don't know, sharing my life with you or something. Consider it fucking sentimental. But anyway, Kaz, why don't you go ahead and let us know who you are, or how long you've been a part of FC, and essentially why we should know who you are.
Alright, well, I'm Major General Kazel, and I've been a part of FC for almost 4 years now. I'm currently the head drill instructor for Blue, and I'm part of the Spectre program.
And what squad are you in?
Oh, I'm in Gunny's lovely squad, Legacy.
Oh yeah, there you go. Alright.
Legacy! That's what I was half expecting.
Okay. But yeah, Kaz is here to help us out with our discussion this week, which is a preview of the Halo 4 weapon tunings, which will be out by now when you're listening to this, on Monday the 3rd. Yes, June 3rd. So first of all, in the latest bulletin that 343 put up on their site, they detailed everything that is going to be happening. They detailed every weapon and exactly what is going to be changed. First of all, Kaz, I want to ask you, what stands out the most out of all the weapon changes? Because you've read this bulletin, of course.
I think there's two things. It's the battle rifle 2-shot melee and the light rifle increased rate of fire when zoomed. I don't know which one of those is going to change it more.
No, you know what totally threw me off looking at this, guys, is the fact that they they're increasing base player speed by 10%. I didn't see that coming at all. Like the rest of the weapon stuff they had talked about, we're like, yeah, we're going to kind of tweak this and this. This was just totally out of the blue.
Yeah. Right.
When you look at this, I mean, it's all damage increases. Literally, like it's all damage increases, and it's very clear that they're trying to speed up the game, especially with that 10% player base speed, which is also something I read and I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. But if you run down here, I mean, the BR, it's getting a 4-shot kill now. Its damage is being very, very much increased. I believe that's 11 burst shot, like 11 bullets if I'm correct, like not 12.
Yeah, it's 11.
Yeah. Its rate of fire is being decreased very slightly. Its red reticle range is being decreased. And, it is now, you can basically, if you're running at someone, you can shoot them twice and beat them down and they'll die. So what are your guys' thoughts on the battle rifle?
OP. They just made the battle rifle OP at close to mid-range.
I think it'll be the most used weapon, but I still think that it's gonna lose to the newly buffed AR at close range, which it should.
Yeah.
It should, but here's the thing. The fact that what they have is a 2-shot and then with that melee, I feel that shouldn't belong to the BR. That should belong to the assault rifle classes.
Well, as it is, the, without, pre-buff, the AR only takes 6 bullets and then a melee to kill. And, now that it's gonna be buffed, it'll probably be even less than that. So the AR can, shoot melee really fast as well.
Very true.
Yeah, the first thing that stands out to me when I saw the 4-shot kill was just Halo 3 and Halo 2, because that's what the BR was. The BR was the weapon in Halo 3 and Halo 2. The decrease in fire rate I'm a little worried that it might feel a little weird, because I know that's what makes the light rifle feel weird to me, because it feels clunky, because the rate of fire is so slow. But I don't know, I'd have to try it out to feel that one out.
The Q&A from the people who attended the stream, all of them said that the BR fire change was pretty much unnoticeable.
Okay.
Like even Ninja, like the PGL guy, who probably plays way more Halo than any of us will ever play in our lives, didn't even notice the shot decrease.
Yeah, and then the new news that came out this week was that, when you're running at someone, you shoot them twice, 2 burst shots, and you hit them, they are now dead. That is just an indication that gameplay is being sped up a lot. Now, the carbine is the next weapon we'll look at. Its damage is being increased. Instead of an 8-shot kill, it's now a 7-shot kill. Its accuracy has been increased, or projectile spread decrease. And the carbine's red reticle range has been decreased. Any thoughts on the carbine?
I feel that the reticle decrease was a little unnecessary, personally.
Why's that?
I don't know. I just felt like it wasn't that in terms of like the spread and everything like that, the way that it was before. Well, I guess since they were increasing the accuracy, they had to. Now that I think about it, I don't know. I didn't expect that one. I expected the other two.
I think they're just trying, because they're doing it to both the carbine and the BR, so I think they're just like really trying to get every weapon in its niche.
Yeah, and make it even more of a mid-range weapon.
Yeah.
It's always kind of bugged me, though, that it seems, at least in this one, that we're lacking a Covenant long-range loadout weapon.
Yeah.
Like, completely.
The needle rifle and reach, I love that weapon. I don't know why that's not a thing anymore.
I loved it, too. I felt
The
that
needle rifle was awesome.
Yeah. Because now it just kind of feels, I don't know, I guess like I'm weird about it, but it's like, you have this many weapons of this kind, you have this many weapons of this kind. Oh, no, you don't have many of this kind. It bugs me. It fucking pisses me off. It's not even...
Yeah, the carbine has always kind of been the weakest precision loadout weapon. It has the rate of fire, but and that really only comes in handy if you get like the first 2-3 shots on someone. But if you're into like a dead duel, it's not gonna help.
Yeah.
Actually, in Halo 3, it was a legitimate weapon to run around with, even against all the BRs. If you were good at aiming. Like, you had to be like a really good player to use it effectively. And even in Halo 4, it has the fastest theoretical, kill time. That's if you don't miss any shots.
Yeah.
Yes?
I honestly can't wait to try it out with these, new settings, cause I've loved the carbine in the past, but the invisible spread that most people didn't even know, was there. I just couldn't use it with that, cause like, it was a 8-shot kill before, and, I would shoot 7 shots in the body, and then I'd go for the headshot, but the spread would hit like their shoulders. And so it would take like 2 or 3 extra shots.
Considering that the spread has been decreased, I could actually see the carbine, at least for players that are, very decent and very pinpoint accurate, this could become almost like an OP weapon for them. Like, I can see people running with this instead of the battle rifle if they're accurate enough.
It'll be really good in teams that have a lot of assists, because, you'll be able to get a lot of shots off on people and clean up kills really quickly.
It is a great support player weapon. I know when the game first came out, I noticed that too. And I ran with that and the regen field, and I was like the ultimate support player.
Yeah.
But now I think we'll run down to the light rifle, and this one stood out to me the most, the changes that they were making. First of all, they're increasing the rate of fire for the light rifle when it is zoomed in, which caught me off guard, because like that thing is already pretty ridiculous zoomed in already, and now they're going to increase the rate of fire on it. They're going to decrease the rate of fire for the unzoomed light rifle, which also caught me off guard, because I don't like using that thing unzoomed. It doesn't feel very good using it unzoomed, and now they're going to decrease the rate of fire even more.
It'll make lightning flag interesting.
And then the reticle range has been increased to match the DMR. But very interesting changes on the light rifle. What do you guys think about it?
I think it's only going to be viable if you're using firepower and you have like a AR or a BR secondary.
Yeah, you're going to need to carry a decent secondary with you. I like that it's very much fitting its niche now, but it's almost like completely making it unattractive unless you have firepower.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's great for shooting someone across the map, but when you get into a mid-range battle, you're done unless you have a second weapon to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you get like the first 2 shots on them.
Yeah. The DMR, not much has changed, but they're slightly decreasing the red reticle range on it, so you don't get that auto aim at such a far distance. Really, this whole update was planned. They even said they were bringing everything up to the DMR's level. They weren't really going to nerf the DMR down to everyone else's level, which I think, once again, they want to speed up gameplay, number one, anyway, and that would have slowed down gameplay.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the assault rifle. The assault rifle, which I know has some controversy. All 3 of these upcoming weapons. We'll cover them all in one go here. The assault rifle, the storm rifle, and the suppressor, they're all getting damage increases, which means they will now kill in 3 less rounds. Their auto aim has been reduced, and their projectile spread has been decreased. Any thoughts on those 3?
Suppressor's even more OP at close ranges. The assault rifle, I think, especially just, having the, the damage going up a bit, I still consider it to be the best out of the three.
Yeah.
I think that in close ranges, the assault rifle's still gonna be great. The suppressor's great if you're, like, right up on somebody, but the fact that the assault rifle can give it some kind of distance, it's definitely gonna be a great close range weapon to run with.
I think you won't be seeing much of a change from, like, the bad players or the average players, but in a really good player's hands, it's gonna be ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
You're gonna get destroyed by automatic weapons if you get caught off guard.
I know, our fellow Legacy Squad member McLuve hates the assault rifle with a passion, and it's gonna be very interesting playing with him when the new update comes out, because I can sense him raging pretty hard.
I will say this, I'm gonna love running with my AR. Like, I mean, I already do, but now it's gonna be, like, even more fun. At least for me. Maybe not for others.
Yeah, I have the assault rifle in one of my classes because I have firepower on one, and I use that in close quarters, and it's great. Cause, I mean, some people sometimes aren't expecting it, and also in close range it works pretty well. Now this is even gonna be more deadly.
I feel like maybe I just haven't totally compared them, but I feel like the storm rifle is definitely the weakest out of all. I feel that it drops shields faster, but other than that, it's not.
The storm rifle's range is just so low.
Yeah.
Like it's the strongest at absolutely completely close range, but its range drops off, or its effectiveness drops off really.
I feel like even with these updates, considering that they buffed all of them, it almost made the storm rifle less appealing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the storm rifle is just your prototypical Covenant weapon. It's always been like that. Covenant weapons have always been great at dropping shields, but once your shields are down, it doesn't do very well to actually do body damage. It's just, that doesn't convert very well over to multiplayer.
I mean, I guess it's great if you're playing support on Hill 30. In, a close map.
Drop everybody's shields.
Yeah, just run through, jetpack over them, drop everybody's shields.
Yeah, I know, it worked pretty well in Halo 2, I remember, and Halo 3, cause you were able to dual wield, and I know the plasma rifle and the SMG dual wield combo was deadly, because one took down shields and one specialized in body damage. And that was ridiculous. But now you just have the storm rifle by itself, and it's not great by itself.
Yeah.
Next, another thing that caught me off guard, but I do understand, I wasn't expecting to see this, but they are increasing the SAW's damage. It is, to maintain the double damage per second of the assault rifle. And the SAW was already a pretty scary weapon to begin with, and now it's gonna get even more scarier. So any thoughts on that?
Here's what I am gonna say. As long as, and we're gonna cover this soon, that we'll just fucking throw it out there now, the damage is being increased in both the Mantis and the Warthog chain guns. As long as they buff those enough to where a SAW can no longer outshoot a Warthog gunner in a head-on lockup, I'm fine with it.
Oh,
my major problem was you would be staring down a chain gun and they're firing at you and you have a SAW and it's like, I don't care, I'm still gonna win. I just felt like that was nuts. You shouldn't be able to do that.
I think that won't be happening because, the AR, the assault rifles only got buffed, pretty slightly. And, the SAW's, keeping its, double of the shooting power of the AR.
Yeah.
But the Mantis and Warthog chain guns are getting a, really ginormous 35% increase.
Is it 35%?
Yes,
I didn't know that was the exact number. Oh, okay, then yeah, we're fine then.
Yeah, it's cause the reason everyone was complaining about vehicles being, made of paper, but they can't increase vehicle health without a title update, so instead, they're just making, the weapons stronger on the vehicles. And so they made it, way stronger.
That doesn't really, help to where the vehicles are better. It just kind of makes them more like Berserk class vehicles.
Well, the reason, most of the complaints were because, of all the people who would just plasma pistol or, throw sticks before you could kill them, but now you can at least, you're more likely to kill them before they plasma pistol you or stick you.
Yeah. It's definitely a fix. I don't know how much of it is for the best fix, considering that the main complaint is that they're like paper.
Yeah.
Alright, moving on. The Magnum, not really worth mentioning because it's getting a slight damage increase. It'll still be a 6-shot head kill, 6 shots to the head kill. But once again, I think this change was really just made to keep up with all the other weapons. I don't know if anyone's read anything else about the Magnum. I'm not sure if the damage increase was noticeable or not.
Well, it's still just 6-shot. I mean, it's gonna help a bit with body shots. It's kind of just one of those things that I don't think you're gonna see a huge change in anything, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Not significant anyway.
And then, we just covered in the conversation about the solid, the Mantis and Warthog chain gun, they're getting a 35% increase in kill damage, or in damage,
in kill damage.
In kill damage.
Cause there's healing damage, everybody. I'm hitting you because I love you and want you to live.
No, but yeah, I know, like, before Halo 4 came out and I saw gameplay videos of the Mantis, I was like, oh my god, this thing's gonna be so OP. Like, this thing's gonna be ridiculous.
You were going around in, like, one of the Gundam suits, is what I kept thinking.
Yeah, and I remember when Reach first came out, on Hemorrhage, the remake of Coagulation, they had Scorpion tanks on there, but, like, within the first month they were removed because of OP they were, and I was like, this is the same thing's gonna happen on Ragnarok. They're gonna have to remove the Mantises because they're gonna be too OP, but boy, the first time I got into Mantis, I was like, wow, this is really underwhelming. Like, I don't feel like I'm doing a lot of damage, and I think this is very, very good that this is getting a increase. The chain gun as well, the Warthog also feels underwhelming. All vehicles really do, except for maybe the Banshee. So this is good. This is very good.
Yeah. Quick little news update. The kitten that I'm training to give me bro fists is now in my presence. I just thought I'd throw that up there. I'm serious, like, if I put up my fist and go bro fist, and he's not distracted by something, he puts up his paw and gives me a bro fist. It's the coolest thing ever.
Oh wow.
But yes, in terms of what we were talking about with the Mantis and Warthog chain gun, I'm definitely happy to see it. I feel that the Mantis so far is just one of those things, like you said, Gunny. I was highly disappointed.
Yeah.
I got into it and I was like, that's it? I mean, I guess it's cool for taking down Banshees, but that's it?
Yeah.
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 Especially with the ability to just get a buddy and get onto a mongoose and use a plasma pistol and just fucking jack it, or not jack it, but jump onto it and just fucking plant a grenade. Like, it's so easy, it's not even funny.
Yeah, I think the fact that everyone starts with a plasma pistol, especially in big team, it already lowers vehicles anyway. And I think
it makes them kind of like a second thought. Not that they're not important, they're definitely important.
Yeah.
But you're more likely to fight over control of power weapons than you are over vehicles.
Yeah, definitely. And this is, I think out of everything besides the battle shot, or the battle rifle 4-shot kill, this is my second favorite on the list. I think this is great.
Yeah, I'll actually be jumping in Warthogs now, I think. Hopefully.
Now Gunny won't ignore me when I tell him to get on and gun for me.
Alright, and then the last piece of this update that we're gonna cover is that the base player speed is being increased by 10%. I believe this came out this week that it was announced that that's gonna happen. Once again, another testament that they're speeding up this game quite a bit. Any thoughts on that?
I like
I don't really know how necessary it is, but I do hope that, like, strafing will be much more effective now.
Uh-huh.
I think that's part of the reason why they're doing it, especially with the battle rifle getting the increase that it is, and the assault rifles being as effective as they are now. You're gonna need a lot more strafing, and I think the only way to keep up with that is to get your guy to move faster, so people have to adjust their aim more frequently and with a bit more skill.
One thing that has set Halo apart from Call of Duty, besides being better in every single way, is that is that in Call of Duty, motorcycle. Anyway, in Call of Duty, if you were shot first, you're most likely gonna die. Like, there's not much of a chance that you can fight back. But in Halo, you were always able to come back if you were good enough. Like, if you were good enough and you were better than the other player, you could more than likely come back and kill them. And I think, there was a worry with all these damage increases that it would start going toward Call of Duty a little more, where if you were shot first, you didn't really have a chance. And I think
not until they remove shields. Like, the second they remove shields and make the gameplay even faster, like, I think this is as fast as I want Halo to go, then I'm not gonna be screaming, the end is near.
But yeah, I think this 10% player base speed is also to help evasiveness, and to help get away.
As far as kill times go, they're actually, like, these kill times are actually just going back to about the same as Halo 2 was. Like, the kill times are getting longer and longer as Halo 2, between Halo 3 and Reach, and then, like, now they're actually just putting it back to where it was. So really, it's not gonna be, like, unless you weren't a fan of Halo 2 multiplayer, it's not gonna be that awful of a difference.
Alright, now that we've talked about some of the, weapon changes, weapon tuning, now we're gonna go into the big matchmaking update they have planned. One of the first things we're gonna talk about is that, Slayer Pro game types, they now have an AR loadout instead of just the BR DMR, which I know AR users will be happy about. And I actually think it'll be useful because, it's having that big damage increase. The CSR matching, basically, you're gonna be waiting a little longer when looking for a game, but that's to ensure that you are being matched up with, the right ranked people. So you're not gonna run into a group of 50s if you're, like, a group of 40s and there's no one else playing. So I know that's very good. What do you guys think about that?
I'm totally willing. Yeah, I'm totally willing to wait like an extra 10 to 20 seconds to get like matched much closer.
Yeah. And I think it's important to emphasize that it's only like 10 to 20 seconds. It's not like
it's going to be like
20,
very minimal.
Like it's not minutes, it's seconds.
Yeah. I think that's a small price to pay for a much better, more fun balanced match.
Yes. Another one is that in CTF game types, overtime is being increased to 2 minutes.
Yay!
So now that you have more time to realistically capture a flag in overtime instead of it really just being more time to figure out a tie.
Yeah.
They're also adding in big party matching into CTF.
Yes, they are. Is that only in CTF, or are they adding that in other playlists as well?
The bulletin makes it sound like right now it's only going to be in CTF, but that's probably just to see how it changes up like matching times and stuff.
Yeah, just
they
to be
gotta
clear,
test the waters.
Just to be clear, big party matching means that you will be matched up against teams. Like if you go into a matchmaking with your squad or something, you're more likely to be matched up against another team of like 4 people. To help balance it out, because I know if like you're random and you're going with people you have no idea, you don't know these people, and you get matched up against a team, it's not fun. Because it's like, they have coordination and we don't.
Yeah.
Another thing is that King of the Hill game types and matchmaking are being, the hill time, like the time that a hill stays in one place, is being increased from 25 to 50, and the score limit is being increased from 150 to 250 to help with the increased hill time. And then, and then the big last one is that all Halo 4 maps are getting updates with map ordnance and locations. Just a kind of a revamp of all, if you guys want to talk about that a little bit.
Okay, see, this entire thing so far has got me going yay, except for this one. This one has a confused face, not confused as to what they're doing, more confused as to how I feel about it.
Okay.
Because part of me is going, yay, like, static map ordinances and stuff like that, and you can actually time things and everything like that. Like, the strategy and team-based person in me goes, yay.
Yeah.
But the part of me that loves introducing some kind of randomness to a match completely hates it. 100%. Like, part of me always feels like people are like, the best team should always win, and I'm like, yeah, but that gets boring really, really fast. I like some kind of variability where you can have that crazy upset, where the team that's down by like 7 kills and it's coming towards the end automatically out of nowhere gets an incineration cannon, and the whole freaking thing changes. Like, for me, even if I'm on the losing end of that, is more fun for me. Because it's something that I didn't anticipate, and not all matches feel the same.
See, I can agree with wanting some variability to a degree. But like, so often, like I think, I don't know if you're with me, Gunny, but like, literally like the other day in matchmaking, we were playing CTF, and we were down by 1, but we were like, on our way to like, come back and like, get the lead. But then, it was on a drift. But then of course the rocket launcher spawned on their side of a drift.
Uh-huh.
And basically they completely shut us down, even though like we were having that comeback, that epic comeback, but then they got the rocket launcher and just completely shut us down because it happened to spawn on their side rather than ours.
Yeah.
I feel like that's great. That's awesome. Here's my thing. I feel like you're upset with the situation, but not looking at it at the grander picture, just looking at the fact that you were on the losing end of it. I mean, the flip side of it is, it provided an amazing experience for another team. No, it's like, here's my thing. Like, okay, yeah, we can talk about how many times something as bad has happened to us because of random ability, but how many times has something good happened to you? Considering that if all we have is bad, then apparently we're unlucky, because there's tons of people out there that have tons of good happen to them all the time.
I think when you look at Halo has a game that has a lot of variability. I mean, I can tell you, how many times, and it's one of the funniest thing, when like a teammate would blow up like an enemy warthog with a rocket launcher, and then the remains of that smoldering warthog come and splatter me in the face Like that, stuff like that, or even like with the hard light shield, you can deflect bullets, and let's say a teammate of mine deflects a rocket, but it like deflects at me, and I blow up, like that kind of thing. I don't know if random weapon spawns are that way. Like, I always enjoy when you can time spawns and get control of a map, but I guess it's just kind of the player I am.
See, I could see myself possibly, like, liking, you know, the random weapons and stuff, if static, predictable weapon spawns weren't like classic Halo.
Okay.
Like, I get that, you know, the series has to evolve and all that jazz, but I don't know, so many things, so many parts of this game, like, have been added in specifically to reduce the skill gap.
Yep.
But, like, the bolt shot, for example, being one of those. But like, that's just one of those things that, like, you know it's Halo. Like the pit in Halo 3, like, you knew that there was invis in Green Hall, and that there was rockets in Long Hall, and there was a sniper at each sniper tower, and they would come up. Like, even back in Halo 3, when I didn't know that you can time weapons and stuff, I knew that occasionally they would be there. So, like, whenever I was near there, I would check to see if it was there, because they didn't have those ordnance markers, which are also a way to reduce the skill gap. I don't know. I feel like the presence of those markers are already enough to, like, help out newer players, that they don't need to make it random on top of that.
I gotta totally disagree, but then again, I'm gonna be bastardized in this conversation, I'm gonna be bastardized in the community when I flat out say that, and I've said this before on the show, I don't like the way that in matchmaking or in multiplayer that the older Halo games played. For me, I considered them boring. I didn't think they were fast-paced enough, which is already solved. I didn't think they were randomized enough, and the whole decreasing of the skill gap thing doesn't bug me in the slightest. I think it's something that we should welcome. I think that it makes the game better, personally.
Oof.
For everybody. I think it makes it better. Because people that are still really, really good, and people that still have really, really good teams are still going to win. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have that occasional upset, but I don't see somebody who's brand new to Halo stomping out BBD when they go into matchmaking. Like, the skill gap is still there. I think what it does is it increase variability and random ability for closer matches, and that I'm okay with.
I think part of the reason why you don't like the older Halo games is part of it because you came in around the Reach Halo 4 era where the game flows faster. I think if you would have came in like the Halo 2, Halo 3 era, you would have loved those games. Like, I love those games, but it's hard to go back and play those online because once it is much slower, it feels very weird now. But I think if you played them at the time, they were great games. But,
I'm not saying that they weren't great games. I'm saying that the changes in the series better the series as a whole, looking at it from the outside.
Not all of them. No.
I'm saying, that's what I just said. I prefaced that with, I'm gonna be bastardized in this conversation.
Yeah. I remember when 343 said these changes were to reduce the skill gap, or no, these changes, but you know, the way Halo 4 was online, I believe they said that, last, what they call it, PAX, or not PAX, but, Halo Fest or something, right?
I don't think they would have said that they were reducing the skill gap.
No, they did.
Did they really?
They did, yeah.
I think I remember saying, like, over the, like, last summer, you know, they have those, conventions. It was either Halo Fest or PAX or something. They said, you know, we've made some changes in multiplayer X, Y, and Z, or to help reduce the skill gap. And, I didn't quite understand what they meant when they said that, and then you get into the game and you realize, wow, randomized ordinances, personal ordinances,
no descoping.
Yeah, the fact that there are some of these armor abilities are kind of ridiculous, that too.
But I love trolling with the hard light shield.
It's better than what armor lock was. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
But, it's a tough subject because I realize from people who are lower on the skill gap that it's tough, and people who are on the high, they're gonna have differing opinions because of where they are, but, I just, I don't like it.
I actually saw a, something on the, Halo Reddit a few months ago, I think, at this point. Basically it took, like, they did a survey, across, like, all the members of, like, the Halo Waypoint forums.
Yeah.
And they asked them to rate Halo 4 and then to also say what was their first Halo. And across the board, like the earlier in the series they started playing Halo, the lower the rating of Halo 4 was.
Yeah, we addressed that. I want to say that was one of our first shows. We had a whole chart on that. Do you remember that,
That
Gunny?
was our first show.
Yeah, that was our first show.
I remember that.
Yeah, and we addressed it then. My whole thing is that I feel that what they've done by lowering the skill gap and introducing as much variability and randomability as they have, I think it's better for the Halo community in terms of community health as a whole, personally.
See, I think it's one of those things, in my opinion, that's like sounded good on paper, but isn't working in reality. Because, like, generally speaking, the reasoning behind lowering skill gap is to, like, attract the players who'd like to just pick up the controller and play every, like, few weeks, and they don't have to practice and stuff. Like, basically, generally speaking, lower skill gap is to cater to casual players.
Yeah.
I remember specifically, during, like, last time when they were talking about reducing the skill gap, they even said that they wanted to bring the campaign player and the multiplayer player together in multiplayer. Like, they wanted to make multiplayer seem less scary for the campaign player to come into. Which, I mean, I think Spartan Ops did that already, but okay, we'll continue. Go.
Here's my question to you guys. You guys are basically saying that they're trying to bring casual gamers and hardcore gamers together. My question to you is, why isn't that working? Because what I see so far is the best of both worlds. The people who are very skilled can get on and wreck. The people who have squads that practice all the time can get on and wreck. And at the same time, the casual gamer can get on every couple of weeks and still have fun. Like, I don't see how that's a broken system.
You can still have fun if you're...
I think it's broken because the population. Like, I get, like, they tried to cater more to the casual players to, like, attract some of, you know, the king of Xbox Live now, Call of Duty. But, like, they at least weren't willing to, like, sell their soul to casual players. But since they weren't, like, all the people that they were trying to attract from Call of Duty are still playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And all the people who have been sticking by Halo over the years.
Considering that Halo 4 had the highest, like, sale out of all the Halo games their opening week, I'd have to disagree with that.
It's the highest sales, but it's the biggest population drop off.
Their population numbers are really, really, really low. Like, I think the average, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the average now is maybe 30,000 players a day.
Yeah, it's like 4,000.
Yeah.
Reaches was like, I think still at like 50 or 70,000 when Halo 4 came out.
I want to say around 60 or 70, and even on the weekends I remember, even late into its, life, like right before Halo 4 came out, like that summer before Halo 4 came out, I was seeing on the weekends it was up to about 100,000. And then during the weekdays, it was around 60,000. Now on Halo 4, I mean, you're lucky to get on a weekday maybe 30,000, then on a weekend maybe upwards 40,000, maybe.
Maybe.
I think I think the numbers show you a lot. I think the sales numbers show a lot of hype for the game. Which, I mean, that's easy because they have Microsoft who has billions and billions of dollars to throw into marketing. But then when you see the numbers drop off,
fantastic.
yeah, it was. It was a lot. I loved it. But then their population numbers dropped off when people started playing the game. And I think that shows a lot.
Well, what I see there is I see vets who are disappointed. That's what I see in terms of the drop off. And for me, the way that I summarize this entire thing is that I see it as a synthesis between the two different types of gamers, and overall, times they are a-changin'. Like, I'm sorry, but things progress, things evolve, things are gonna change, and you're not gonna be able to keep Halo 2 vets that are like, I remember in the old days, happy at all times.
Well, see, I'm not trying to say cater to, like, the vets or cater to the competitive crowd. All I'm saying is that, like, they tried catering to casuals, but, like, none of the casuals from COD left COD. So they can't really do any more trying to cater to the casuals without, like, completely not being Halo at all.
Yeah.
But I'm not necessarily saying that they should go back, like, regress.
No.
I'm just saying they need to, like, find a way to make it unique.
Okay.
Like make it Halo,
With
whether
uniqueness.
it's old Halo or new Halo, just Halo. Like
Yeah,
something
uniqueness I can agree with you on. That's something that I think we even touched on in a previous show. Or we might not have, I don't remember. I've had tons of conversation with people from the community about it, and that I agree with. I think the one thing that I would like to ask you guys then is, I'm not necessarily saying that your arguments are invalid if you don't have one, but do you guys have anything in mind that might provide a better synthesis for the two gamers?
How about an actual class-based combat system?
Okay.
Well, okay, you and I have talked about that quite a bit, and you know how I feel about that one. I think I've even addressed on the show, for those of you guys who don't know, I am like the biggest class-based multiplayer freak ever. Like, that is god tier. So, they want to do that, I'm totally down.
Yeah, the things I like about Halo 4, loadouts are fine. I don't have a problem with loadouts. Default sprint is something that should have been in Reach. And there's no excuse why Bungie didn't do that. So I have no problem with sprint or loadouts. I even don't have a problem with armor abilities. I have a certain problem with certain armor abilities, but I don't have a problem with armor abilities as a thing. The thing I do have a problem with are personal ordnance, random map ordnance, and,
Descoping?
yeah, that too. There you go. Descoping. And then some of the armor abilities, like camo, you should not be able to spawn with camo. But other than that, I don't have a problem with it. Like, that would be evolving the series, speeding up the gameplay. Like, this update is perfect. I don't have a problem with speeding up gameplay. Like, I mean, let's be honest, people's attentions are short. They need something faster paced. I don't have a problem with that. I do have a problem with some of these other things that, yeah, I don't like them. But, as far as increasing, doing it right, I think class-based is something that would be very interesting. Because I know Battlefront did that. I think Battlefield's version of that is great. They have like a class-based thing, but not really. They have like they have the medic, they have the engineer, they have like the gunner guy, and then they have a sniper. And it works great. I think if Halo did something like that, but kept it within being Halo and not turning into like Battlefield, I think that's something they should really look into.
I think it's the only, like, feasible way to change Halo, but without, like, becoming, like, COD in space.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the only thing that'll keep it unique, because I mean, in terms of class-based, I mean, they're obviously going up against things like Team Fortress if they were to go full-on class-based.
Yeah,
and I think
Fortress is PC.
Well, it is PC, but I mean, they would rule the console for it. But I'm just saying, in terms of originality, the uniqueness that we were talking about earlier, I think a Halo adapted system, like you said, Gunny, similar to Battlefields, would be best.
Yeah.
Like that, it's a nice hybrid between the two types of gaming.
Yeah, like, cause I like Halo 4. I do. Like, I'm not as countless of complaints as I have against the game. Like, I still enjoy playing it, and I play it a lot. But I hate to see them, like, try to make so many changes aiming for a certain crowd, and have all of that not work for that crowd, but then have all of the old crowd leave.
Yeah.
Alright, well, on that note, we are running a little long on this discussion. On that note, we'll wrap this up. First of all, thank you, Kaz, for coming on and discussing with us. You were very insightful. It was nice having you on.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Kazor.
Yeah, so, me and Toast will be back for, your beautiful listener mail right after this break.
Bye.
Woohoo!
back in to the FC podcast.
The only FC podcast.
Yes,
It's become like my thing. I love it.
once again, I want to thank Kezel for coming on and discussing
Azor.
Halo 4 with us. That was a great discussion. I enjoyed it.
It very much was. I love Kaz's insight on stuff. Like I said, he wanted to be there for that one. We wanted him to be there for that one because he knows what he's talking about. No offense to anybody out there, just we know.
Yeah.
If you guys ever do want to be on the show, let us know in listener mail if you have either a conversation that you could contribute to, or something that you'd want to talk about in specifics, and we'll see what we can make happen.
Yes, but now we're going to dive into our last segment, and also the one that gets the community most involved, listener mail.
Little thing, guys, we said that we were only going to cover the important ones, but it turns out last week we got 8, this week we got 4. So we're just going to cover all of them because we don't need to sift through them.
Yes.
So we're going to go ahead and I think start this off. First piece of listener mail coming from Adrian, of course. He writes in, I think, every single week, our Norwegian buddy. And the subject says Swedish meatballs, and then it says this mail has no, and then it kind of tapers off, and Yahoo won't let me see what it says. I think it says no connection to anything. But regardless. Actually, one second, guys. I'm going to pop into the inbox and see. No connection. This mail has no connection between subject. It's a big mess. There you guys go. He started saying, infected. Oh, he's talking about the intro. Okay, he's just going to do his own intro music. He goes, how's it going, Poppy, Toast, and Gunny? Little thing, Papa Big Dick wasn't on this week's show. Sorry, looking for him. Continues, Adrian here with more crazy listener mail. Podcasting was spiffing. I really enjoyed it. Smiley face. I would really love to get those cookies from you, Toast, but I don't think how my mom would like me getting cookies from a 20-plus X-year-old guy living in America. Aren't you like 25? I can't remember. No, I am actually 19. I'll be turning 20 this December. And Gunny, why haven't you seen Indiana Jones? What are you doing to yourself? Are your shorts filled with butt serpents? You
What's
should
a
really
butt serpent?
What the fuck are you talking about butt serpent?
What the fuck is a butt serpent?
If you guys, Eli, did my mic pick that one up?
Yes.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
This broadcast from my girlfriend's house, that was her. Apparently, she also wants to know what butt serpents are. So maybe if you could send us in a picture, Adrian, I think we'd all like to know what a butt serpent is.
I don't need a picture.
I'm afraid of what the picture is going to be, but...
Or that's just fancy way of saying you have words.
He continues saying you should really watch 1 or 2 or 3 or all of them. No. He shouldn't watch all of them. He shouldn't watch the 4th one because it's the worst Indiana Jones movie. They brought fucking aliens into it, and it was watch it ever. Everyone should burn if they find a copy. He continues, if you don't, you're as dumb as my misbred jellyfish sandwich grim lamest TV show ever enthusiast. Toast, I hate MLP too, and here's a fun story. My mom once saw an interview on TV once. A bunch of 16-year-olds sat in a room with their MLP hats, toys, books, and plushies. Not long ago, my 5-year-old cousin Erica left all her MLP toys at our place. I was going to the kitchen. There, my mom was doing dishes. I didn't have anything to do there, really. I want to mention, and I felt like joking. I found one of the toys, picked it up, and said, I've been looking for you. My mom turned around and looked at the toy. Seriously? It looked like she was going to collapse. For that, I have to give you awesome points. It's a great prank. Everybody should go out and scare their parents by thinking that they're into MLP. Trust me, your parents will get pissed. I don't think anybody wants that happening to their child. He continues, also, I want to mention that Michael in Rooster Teeth likes MLP. Quick correction, he actually, corrected it later. He says, I meant Mike, ugh, I need to stop forgetting stuff. At least I think that's where that correction was supposed to go. Correct me if I'm wrong. He goes, Mike and Artsy, likes MLP. He goes, speaking of Rooster Teeth, you said Shizno, not Shizno, when you said, or referring to the last podcast. He also continues, when you said getting achievements for watching TV, I laughed so loud, so if you're watching porn on Xbone, the Kinect will measure how far you come and reward you it.
Xbone?
Adrian, you're killing me. Oh, and he also says, only cover the cool stuff at E3, not any dancing games, please. So I've coughed or vomited. I'm real ill. Rather, up all I could think of during the potty. Please, y'all, tea.
But yeah, to touch on that real quick, especially on the dancing games thing, I think we're done seeing music-based games, because...
Yeah, rhythm games are done.
Yeah, Rock Band is dead, so is Guitar Hero, and I think, like, Dance Hero, whatever the fuck they call it, it's done too. I mean...
Hopefully it's done. That was a horrible series to begin with. So yeah, do you want to go ahead and bring us our next one?
Yes. This next piece of listener mail is, entitled, What the Fuck and Fuck Yeah from Jumaji. And it says, quote, My last email was late, and I sent it before I finished listening to the second podcast and was tired of shit from traveling, so that's why I didn't know what the Mass Effect email. But I agree with many of his points. But anyway, Gunny, what the fuck? You haven't played Pokemon 2nd Gen, which is the best, and you haven't seen any of the Indiana Jones movies?
You're not going to hear the end of any of those. Just letting you know, until you play 2nd Gen, people are still going to be talking about that in every listener mail.
Don't watch the 4th one, it's total shit. Yeah, I've heard that. But seriously, how have you been getting through life? But anyway, Cookies, fuck yeah, Toast, you're the man, and whenever I find an album, I absolutely love it. I torrent it, and my computer does when I can't even play I go out and buy it on vinyl because it's still hands down the best quality sound next to it being live. Yeah, I actually hear that. I don't have any vinyls. Do you have any vinyls?
I do, actually. I have, my family's collection kind of got dispersed and destroyed, but the two things that I've actually managed to keep are a copy of Sgt. Pepper's, one of the original presses, and Queen's A Night at the Opera, which both sound amazing on vinyl.
And he continues, as for the Xbox One, I won't buy it, because there's no point in spending all that money for all the shit my computer does when I can't even play my favorite games from the 360. The only reason I considered buying it was for Destiny, but it's coming out for the 360, so fuck it. If Fallout 4 comes out for the Xbox One, then I'll probably get it, because the Fallout games are the shit. I agree. I'm also a Fallout.
I totally agree. I'm the guy who's read, I think, everything on their wiki, so you should totally talk to me about it.
Speaking of which, you guys should totally do a segment on the Fallout games. Also, larger lobbies would be amazing, and I think the new FC newscast and then the podcast would be sick. One last Pokemon note, Arcanine is the shit, and he is one of the only Pokemon with stats that are equal to legendary Pokemon because the makers were originally going to make him a legendary before they replaced him with Entei. But they never changed the stats. And always, you guys are the shit. Looking forward to the next one, Jumaji. Thank you for their listener mail. Real quick, about that backwards compatibility thing. I love backwards compatibility, but I read something the other day that made me think differently. I don't remember where I read it. But someone was defending the fact that newer consoles don't have backwards compatibility, and he compared it to the older consoles. He said, in quote, I believe, he was like, there was a problem when your NES cartridge could fit into your 64 cartridge. Backwards compatibility slows down the hard drive or something like that, but he made a very good point saying back in the day, backwards compatibility wasn't a big issue, and that if you really wanted to play the old games, you'd go and play them on the old consoles. Which made me think a little bit. I was like, I don't know.
Okay, well then here's my counter argument to that. Then I have a better idea. Since they want everything to be on the hard drive and not slow down the processor, why don't I have the ability to put these games into my Xbox, it registers it, and I can download it from the Xbox Live Marketplace onto the hard drive?
Wait, repeat that again?
Like, instead of having, like, the processor or anything like that, just make it so the disc reader can tell what disc I have in there, what game I have, and then I should be able to download that directly to my hard drive.
That is something I've thought about.
All specs of the new Xbox One.
Yeah, but once again, I don't know if the hard drive could, like, tell what game it is. But that is something that would be very interesting, because I know I do want to play my old games, but I don't want to have my 360 sit out here. First
world problems, although I totally agree, although I joke about it, I would prefer backwards compatibility. I think the fact, we're saying there was a problem when your SNES cartridge could fit into your 64, but the thing that I'd like to point out is, I'm sorry, this is 2013. I thought we were, to that point. We're having scientists that are working on, the ability to, completely turn matter into energy and then teleport it somewhere else. And you're telling me that we can't have backwards compatibility? That's a problem.
Yeah, I think developers are looking at it more like, you shouldn't want to play older games because there's better stuff out, which I think is the wrong way to look at it.
Well, yes, that doesn't mean for example, you and I have both gone back and played Fallout 1 and Fallout 2.
Yeah.
And those are old computer-based games, or turn-based RPGs, totally, we're talking 90s gaming all around. And those games are great games.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
But anyway, thank you for the email, Jumaji. Very good email. We got a nice little discussion out of it.
Since he suggested it, we'll actually probably do a show on Fallout now. Considering the fact that we can't do a show on AC, but I'll talk about that when we're done with the listener mail here.
Alright, take us into our next listener mail.
The next one, of course, comes from Bubba, one of our biggest fans. I think our biggest fan, hands down. He gives us an essay every time. This one isn't super essay-ish. But he's been saying, Dear Toast, Gunny, and maybe not Papa Big Dick. Well, everyone is still here, but you guys need to work on including the segments besides FC News and listener mail. I'm in support of the newscast where you would do FC, Sports, World, and Podcast News, and a podcast for the tirades, interviews, FC Roundtable, and other segments. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Gunny, maybe we should do that. Have
Maybe.
newscast, but it's also just news in general. Like, it's not just FC specific. We'll talk about it. Guys, maybe send in your comments in the next listener mail. If the community wants it enough, I'm fine with doing it. So, I think we'll let them decide. He continues, this is probably the best solution, seeing as people have short attention spans and want short episodes, but aren't listening because there's a lack of content. He goes, please, with butter and jam smothered toast, do a Forerunner Conflict Live E3 edition. I doubt I'm going to be able to watch E3 this year, but I will always listen to the podcast. It'll more than compensate. I can say nothing. I can neither confirm or deny anything. He continues, sports is a decent idea, Gunny, but you should probably gather information on what sports your listeners want feedback on. One sport would take at least 10 minutes, and with the intersecting segments, it'd be a bit of a pain. I'd only listen to the NFL part if you did it, but I'm sure that others would want NBA and MLB coverage. Continues, another segment that would be pretty interesting would be a look at this game sort of thing, where you briefly recommend, review a game you decide on, and give it a rating, who you'd recommend it to, and a brief explanation of what it is. You could do good games, niche games, and shitty games if you only recommend to your enemies. I like the way he thinks. He continues, I'm sorry for not sending in codes, but it's not something I can afford at the moment. In fact, if there were if it weren't for the 12-month subscription I received for Christmas, I'd probably be applying for a subscription. I'll do what I can, but I probably won't be able to send one out until I get a job. Excellent job flipping out at the end of the first segment, Toast. Make Gunny feel shame. He has much to be ashamed of, and sorry, Toast. I didn't know my letters hurt your throat. Which also brings me to a sad notice. This is the last episode I'll be able to send in listener mail to. What?
What?
Dad lost his job about a week ago, and I'm gonna have to sell my laptop. Sorry, guys. Oh my god. I don't usually preview these until we begin.
Yeah,
so
neither do I.
Oh my god, Bubba, you have, on behalf of everybody, but especially the FC podcast team, I want you to know that my heart goes out to you, and I'm sorry for that turn that your life is taking. I know that you'll have community support in terms of emotional support at least. You have mine. We're name brothers. Shit, man. I'm gonna miss this. I'm definitely gonna miss these listener mails. How about you, Gunny?
I am too. Oh
I
my.
consider these a staple of the entire thing. You're like
I'm
my
in
big...
shock right now. I'm being honest.
I know, we're gonna have a moment of silence. And moment of silence done. But yeah, wow. I'm sorry about that, Bubba. We'll continue now with heavy hearts and sad voices. Continuing, I didn't post my favorite Pokemon in previous listener mail. Scizor for the fucking win. Breloom and Blissey can come too. Fuck Miltank and Bidoof.
Miltank.
Continues, Katy Perry, Zoe Deschanel, C1 Morris, Mia Kirshner, Emily Blunt, and Katie Featherstone is the list of female celebrities that look very similar. My only explanation is that there is a man that couldn't keep it in his pants and has a lot of explaining to do. He goes, Toast, you're not really alone. I know several people that don't use most of the features on the gaming consoles. Most people only use Netflix and games, not the social media, Zune, Hulu, and other stuff like that. The main argument I have against it is that the only people that are going to be willing to shell out hundreds for a console right away are the gamers, not the people who regularly use the various apps.
That is a very interesting argument, actually. That the only people
I totally agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Like,
and so I think what they should do is they should have those. It should just be a gaming console with the ability to download apps.
I think that's what it is already. Like, I mean, it's not like Skype is going to be installed right away. Like, you have to, like, install it yourself. I think that's all those apps are anyway.
Yourself. But I mean, like, I don't even know if I would make it, like, they make it sound like it's shipping with it, is the thing.
I think it's more you were able to download those apps, just like the IE was there to download it. It wasn't automatically on your console. Because then you're putting stuff on their memory that they're not possibly going to use, so they allow you to download it if you're going to use it.
True. He continues, I'm realizing that I need to talk to this Jumanji guy. He sounds like a really cool dude. Hit me up, Jew. He actually said Jumanji in caps, but I decided not to say it, but we'll just go ahead and continue. He'd like to ask for the song Thrift Shop by Brian McLemore and Brian Lewis. Okay. Alright, that'll be your closing music then. He goes, also FC Podcast host, I have a recommendation. The outro theme is almost always recommended by a random listener mail. I recommend you put up a small poll with 3 songs and you have the most voted for song played as the outro. Sound decent? No. No.
Like we choose the songs and then you vote
Here's
on
why
them?
I say no, because I don't want every one of them to be a poll. That's a lot of, okay, it's not a lot of work, but I'm lazy. And the third one is, if somebody wants something played, they say it. Bubba, you usually pick the outro because you take the time to actually talk about it and send us in listener mail.
Good choice, by the way. I like Macklemore.
As do I. I was hoping for more rap when I heard about him and less hip hop, but whatever. We'll deal. You guys are like, same thing. No, they're not. But yeah, I guess we're gonna need to do something like that though, since Bubba won't be sending in listener mail anymore. If you ever get to a computer, you need to like send stuff in.
I'm gonna miss you, even though you like bag on me in your listener mails. I'm really gonna miss your listener mails.
How are you still gonna be? You need to tell us if you're still listening to the show.
Yeah, because then you're not hearing this, which is kind of awkward.
We'll just go ahead and continue. And to end everything off, I don't actually have to sell my laptop. Am I? Oh my god, Bubba, I want to strangle you right now. That wasn't I even had a moment of silence.
Fuck you.
I had a moment of silence for you. Oh my god. He says, my dad hasn't lost his job. I'm going to continue sending long letters to this podcast because I fucking love it. Why then did I say I had to leave? I wanted to give false hope to those who don't like my letters. And, I do know a few people who don't like them. I won't name them, but they're out there. Fuck them. You should totally name them. Call them out. But, I can't be mad at you anymore because I realize that that's about the same grade of trolling as mine have been in the past. Ask Gunny or ask anybody else in blue or any of the blue officers about my trolling. They'll let you know what I'm referring to. He continues, thanks for putting up with my weekly essays, Bubba. I'm kind of blown away by that ending there. How about you, Gunny?
I'm in shock for the second time in like 2 minutes.
That like totally threw me off. Like that wasn't even funny.
Alright, let's move on to the last piece of listener mail this week. And it comes from, Rep Helix. And it's entitled, I've got a couple of bones to pick. This should be interesting. Alright. And he says, okay, first off, I know this has been said before, but seriously, Gunny, play Gen 2, damn it. I will, people! Jesus Christ! Okay.
But you can't play the remakes, you have to play the originals.
I'm currently playing Crystal version, get on that, son. I will. Also, Toast. I'm disappointed in you most of all. You said you'd be playing with us in tonight's battle night. So I fangirled a bit. I was like, oh yay, we get to play with Toast again, and guess who didn't show up? That's right, Toast! I beat Platt for you, by the way, and you wouldn't know because you weren't there. You got my hopes up only to break them. You ripped my heart out and chewed it up and spit it out and stomped it in the dirt, you cold heartless monster! You wait till I get my hands on you. I'm gonna dip you in a pool so you become soggy, you delicious burnt breakfast food. End rant. Love Helix.
Okay, I want to make this clear. This conversation happened in the FC Global Skype chat. It was originally for the Xbox One, and then we made it a global chat because, fuck you, that's why we wanted to. But no, Urias maybe might have said that I would be there for sure. I said I might be able to show up to Battleline. Might. Maybe. As in it is possible. I did not say that. I did not promise anything. So you cannot be mad at me. Be mad at Urias. Be mad at Nick or whoever else said that I would be there for sure. But do not be mad at me. Oh, man. Well, that was a hell of a listener mail.
Yes, it was. We actually had a very good week full of listener mail. I think probably, I mean, we didn't have as much as we did last week, but I think this week had the most quality.
It definitely did. You guys, I think all of you guys will for sure at least be getting 2 points for your listener mail, if not 3. If not 3.
Not quantity, but there was a lot of quality.
There was. The other thing, we'll just go ahead and start wrapping this up then, Gunny. I want to let you guys know I said that we might be doing a Fallout show since we won't be doing an AC show. You guys are probably, there's a lot of people out there who are probably having their hearts broken because they were waiting for that show. Gunny, why don't you go ahead and tell them why we won't be having an AC show?
I don't know if we won't be having an AC
show. We won't.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why we won't for sure after this.
Okay. Well, I was playing through the AC series, as some of you might have known if you'd listened to past episodes. I had played through Assassin's Creed 1, I played through Assassin's Creed 2, and I recently started Brotherhood, I would say maybe 2.5 weeks ago. And I have maybe progressed through 5% of that game in 2 weeks. Because I don't know why, and this is the only series that this happens with. I hit this wall with Assassin's Creed where it gets to a point where I don't want to play it. Like, believe me, I've tried to force myself to play Brotherhood or play Assassin's Creed, and I just can't. I get to a point where I'm playing it, I sit there for 10 minutes saying, this sucks, I don't want to play it, and then I don't. And
but it doesn't suck. You're even admitting that it doesn't suck.
I know, but like, to me, I'm like saying, I'm not interested in this. I don't have any motivation to keep going. Like
but you want to know what happens in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he asked me that he wants me to do a sit down and explain to him everything that happens, including side stuff, full explanation so he knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Because he's genuinely interested in it. And to that I can say, that's fine, I'll do that, Gunny. And if you guys want, let me know. And I will do a specific AC cast where it'll be just me talking. Gunny can come too. Like, he can throw things in. The reason I don't want to have a full show, conversation devoted to it though, Gunny, is because if you didn't play through them yourself, the criticisms won't make as much sense.
Okay.
Like, you can know the plot line and you'll understand why AC3 shit on it, but you won't have the same connection, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you kind of had to be there, kind of thing.
Okay.
So, I think if we're gonna do a whole video game show with Laura, I think we should do Fallout instead.
Yeah.
Because
I
both
think
know
that's
that
much
very
better.
well.
Yeah.
And also, you know, what's his name? Jesus. Sorry guys, I didn't mean to
Jesus.
forget. He's gonna be mad at me now for forgetting his name like I forgot, Legion's name. But, you'll probably be happier with our Fallout one, because that's one RPG where I would say it's one of my specialties, so.
Yeah. Alright. Well, on that note, I think we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you for listening to the FC Podcast again for our 11th episode. Toast, do you have anything to say?
Keep sending in listener mail, keep sending in codes, stay tuned for some news this week, and keep your eyes and ears open for the information about the Microsoft point drawing. Like I said, everybody who sent in listener mail this week, so that's going to be Bubba, that's going to be Adrian, Helix, and Jumanji.
Yeah.
You guys will all at least get 2 points. I'll later assess whether or not some of you might get 3. I'm looking maybe towards Bubba, because he made some suggestions, so.
Alright, yeah. Also, the Salvation Army is a thing. We have codes. If you want to apply. If you have codes to donate. Keep that going.
If you have friends who need codes, go ahead and let them know. They have to be a part of FC though.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, but this is, what do you think this is, a charity?
Yeah. Alright, so on that note, I think we're gonna wrap this up. So on behalf of Toast, on behalf of myself, we'll see you next week.
Stay classy, FC.
Stay classy, San Diego. Go fuck yourself.